don't know how to do this anymore. I've been working on so many things, and I am beyond excited to talk to you about everything. So let's get started with what I'm wearing. This is the Classic by Espace Tricot. It is a free pattern that I found on Ravelry. Honestly, it's a very often recommended free pattern for being specifically a Louvre sweater dupe by Petite Knit. So this one is by Espace Tricot. I made it in acrylic. This is Patins Canadiana in the colorway brown heather. Was it brown heather? Stone heather. Yeah, so it's just like a really pretty chocolatey brown, and I think the color is amazing. I love it on me. I wore this a lot. Actually, I wore this a lot. This is actually my very first sweater that I have ever knitted. And I knit this back in May, or I started it in May, so maybe I finished it around like July or something of 2022. So, oh my god, it's literally been 2 years since I've knit this sweater. So that's actually cool. That's fun. But I messed the sweater up a lot. I think you can see in the front, the short rows. Maybe I'll move forward. You can see where it just looks wonky. Instead of doing like with the short rows, you're basically centering around the collar. I didn't understand, and I was turning around the same section every single time, so it's wonky. The yoke is a little too deep. Like if I raise my arms, this is where my armpit is. That is where the yoke ends. So it is a lot larger than I anticipated it being. I thought I was on gauge. I didn't really understand gauge. Also, this is acrylic, so it does like stretch out kind of weird over time. But I wore it a lot in 2022. I wore it a decent amount in 2023 as well. But at that point, I had other sweaters to wear too. But I still really love this sweater. This is like completely acrylic. It's not even a wool acrylic blend, and it does feel like plastic. It's been washed many times, but I think it still looks good. I'll be honest. So can't be mad. Oh, this one, it was so oversized that I actually tried. I'm gonna literally just lift my sweater up. I don't care. But I literally tried doing decreases. Yeah, you can see that, to make it fit better, but I started doing those decreases a lot of the way down the body, so it just kind of looks like a little bit of a sack. Love to throw this on, and I have a lot of love for it. I just have so many good memories of knitting on it. So love it, and I can never be an acrylic hater purely for the fact that I love the sweater. So there you have it. Let's talk about my whips. So actually the thing that really encouraged me to turn on the camera again and make a video is I've been talking my friends' ears off about kind of the same stuff, and I just feel like I needed an outlet to talk about what I'm doing, what I've been planning. So essentially, I have 9 whips. Yes, you heard that right. I have 9 whips. I actually started the year with 9 whips. These are not the same 9 whips, but I don't think I ever went below 7 whips at a time in the first 7 months of the year. Is now July 28th. Yes, it's July 28th. So just the end of July, and I have not made a dent in the number of whips I have. That being said, I had started the year with the goal of ending the year whipless. And what I mean by whipless is like I may be knitting on one project. Like I'm actively knitting on one project at the end of the year. So naturally I will be still knitting. Like I'm not going to finish everything that I wanted to knit in like mid-December and then not knit anything for the last 2 weeks just so I can have like 0 whips in 2025. No, that's stupid. But I basically just want to be actively working on one whip come the end of the year, with everything else either frogged or finished. So, okay, I'm just going to start talking about whatever I see in front of me. I'm not going to talk about what I casted on when, whatever, because it's so much information and it's been so long. So the first whip I want to talk about, it's in a very precarious situation because it's on needles without any needle stoppers and no needles. It's just on the cable actually, but I think I can show it off. This is my Jenny jacket that I've been working on. I don't know if you can see. Oh my god, I think you can see there. She's so pretty. She's beautiful. I love her. She's so pretty. Okay, so the Jenny jacket needs no introduction. It is a smock stitch cardigan. It's knit bottom up and it's by Petite Knit. It, I feel like, took the world by storm when it came out, but for being like crazy difficult, and it is indeed crazy difficult, but not as difficult as I thought it would be. It's actually really meditative. It just takes forever to do because like you literally, like if a normal sweater, it's like double the stitches almost of what a normal sweater would be at DK weight, because the smocking just requires so much. And I just, oh, I can't, like, it's just so beautiful. I know that Jenny, I think most of the Jennies I've seen made are in like a lighter color, but I just had this vision of a charcoal gray, nearly black Jenny jacket, and it just makes me so happy every time I look at this, because it's just beautiful. I actually casted this on, I think, January 2nd. I know this because I'm doing this as part of a cal with a group of friends. So they are Yasmin of Cozy, oh my god, Cozy. Yasmin of Cozy Tricot, Rebecca of Hip Knit Hooray, as well as Michelle of Miso Makes. So we are doing a year-long cal called the January cal. I love my puns, okay? And it's essentially where we're all creating Jenny garments over the course of January 2024 to January 2025. Technically December 2024, but whatever. I will be finishing this in January 2025. But I am basically almost done the body. And again, it's knit bottom up, so I'm almost done the body. I'm knitting this in Cascade 220 Heathers in the colorway Jet Heather, and I am almost done the body. I think I might extend it. I think I've done 10 smocks, which is technically what I'm supposed to do for the pattern, but I kind of want to make it a little bit longer. I do like a little bit of a longer sweater and garment, so I think I'm gonna do 12, if not even 13 smocks. So I do have a little bit of ways to go, but I'm actually not going to be working on the body right now. My next action item for this project is, why am I holding it like this? You can't even see it. But then my next action item for this project is to actually get started on the sleeves, because it is kind of like a yarn management kind of situation. I don't think I have enough. I may have enough. If I don't have enough, I'll buy more and it'll be a different dye lot. It's really not the end of the world, but I just want to finish the sleeves first to see if I want to extend the body so that I can kind of get a grasp of how it will potentially look. I'm thinking I likely will still extend the body, but it's fun to do, but it takes a very long time, is I think the theme of doing any Jenny project. It is very meditative. It's like a 2x2 rib for most of the project, and then every specific repeat you do the smock. And the smock row literally takes me an hour to do. Literally just one row, but it takes me an hour because it's just a lot. But it's beautiful. I have been neglecting this project, where Miso and Cozy Tricot are pretty much, I think they're on their sleeves, or second sleeves even. I am still working on the body, but not the end of the world. I think I could do the sleeve in August is my goal. Maybe even both. I don't know. So that is whip number 1. And did I mention what yarn I'm using? It is Cascade 220 in the colorway Jet Heather, and it is so pretty. I just think it's the perfect level of rustic and soft. Like, I think it's really not known as a rustic yarn. It's known as like a softer yarn, but it's not a merino soft. I think it's like Peruvian Highland wool. But I really like it. I think it's beautiful with any kind of texture, and I think I'll definitely be buying more of this yarn in the distant future once I've used up a lot of the yarn that I have. So that is whip number 1. Sorry, and my Jenny jacket is 32% complete. So we are over 50% through the year, and I'm only done about 32% of the project. So I do have some catching up to do. So my thought process is if I can finish both sleeves by August, I will actually be on track to finish the sweater on time. So next garment, next whip, this project I've talked a lot about. I can't even find the front of it. I am struggling. A struggle. Okay. This is my twist loop sweater. I've talked a lot about this. I'm not going to talk about like the pattern and everything like that, just because I've talked about it in a previous podcast quite extensively. And guess what? I have made no progress since my last video. So I just wanted to, and it's kind of embarrassing because it's been almost a year since I've made that video. I just haven't touched this. I've just been in indecision. Okay. So I've just been on an indecision on if like the neckline is salvageable. Like, is this cute? Is this cute? I don't know. It's just a little wide. And I think it looks sloppy. And am I really going to go through and finish this entire project if literally the very first thing I did, the cast on with the neckband, is just not working for me? So I have sent out some feelers to some of my friends just to kind of get their thoughts on how bad it is. Like I don't know if this is salvageable or not. I think it might be. I don't know, but at this point right now, I am heavily considering frogging it, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this cute? Like, I think this is how I would wear it. And I think it's kind of, I have like my double collar situation going here, but I don't know. Let me know. This I'm making, oh no, my hijab. This I'm making with 2 strands of Briggs & Little Sport. Yeah, Briggs & Little Sport in the colorway Green Heather, Forest Heather, Dark Green Heather? I forgot the colorway. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this off of memory because I am running late. But I love it. I love the color. I love the idea of the twist loop sweater in this yarn, in this color. I am just very unsure about the neckline. So we'll see. I may just have to keep working on it and then make that decision later on. So we'll figure it out. That is whip number 2. Whip number 3. Oh my god. I think I'm going to talk about 3 textured pieces back to back. Who am I? Oh, I'm sorry. And the twist loop is by Other Loops. Next whip that I have is actually something I cast on at the end of 2023. It is the Turtle Dove Shawl. This is a pattern by Sari Nordland. She did an MCAL back at the end of December. But around that time, I was just working on a couple test knits, so I just didn't want to prioritize this. And I think by the end of December, I had gotten to maybe like here. And I really hadn't put a lot of effort into this for a very long time. I think I maybe finished Clue 1 sometime in like Jan, Feb, sometime whatever. But I think really I started Clue 2 a couple months ago, and that's when I got most of my work done on this. So this is a very gorgeous pattern, and it's coming up so beautifully on camera. It is a combination of, so it's essentially a shawl. It's really a neck scarf that starts off in a tiny little triangle, that gets bigger and bigger, and then when it reaches its peak, it gets smaller and smaller. It has a combination of various different types of cables. So you see, I think this is called a horseshoe cable over here. There's like twisted stitches, twisted stitches that make that like squiggly line. I love this cable. This is my favorite cable. It's the prettiest ever, and I kind of want a sweater in this. And then more of the twisted, and then just some other motifs going along. I am so close to being done, and I think this project I feel so proud about, and maybe I'll just like wear it around my neck right now. I'll wear it like this so you can see it. So this project I am like so proud of because of the intricacy, and I really just didn't think I could do it, I'll be honest. And then it just clicked, I guess. And you know what it was? It's because it's increasing, like you start at the tip and you increase. I was literally reading the stitches, like reading stitch by stitch and performing the knit. Okay, I was literally knitting stitch by stitch based on the chart. So I literally always had my computer in front of me and knitting on it. I really couldn't watch anything or multitask it at all. I couldn't even watch like reality television because I just needed to focus so much. But I think around clue 1, I think I started a couple of times and it was just really demotivating. Partway through clue 2, I kind of understood. Like at clue 2 is when you introduce this cable, and I think I don't know if you introduced it, but you were working on this cable, and I really love this cable, so I think that motivated me to keep going. And then somewhere between clue 2 to clue like midway at clue 2 to the end of clue 2, I'm like, wait a second, I'm kind of understanding what this pattern is. So the chart is very intensive for me. Like for me it's intensive. I don't know, maybe it's not that intense, but this is the most rigorous thing I've ever knit. So as I was working on it, by the time I got to like the halfway point, I understood what was going on, and I understood what the pattern was, because you literally see the full pattern at this point. So I think that was like the turning point for me. Like actually it was quite literally a turning point because you start decreasing, but that was a turning point in kind of my knitting experience with this project. Like for the first half, honestly, it was like, I've casted it on, I should just finish it. It's a good thing to figure out how to do, but I wasn't enjoying the knit at all, I'll be honest. So it hurt my wrist because I just wasn't used to it. It was just very mentally engaging, but I wasn't at the point in my life where I wanted to be that mentally engaged because I was just very mentally depleted. So it felt like work, and it was work. But again, as I got to the 50% mark, I was like, wait, I understand this pattern. So I stopped having to kind of look every row or every couple of rows. Once I got to the halfway point, I really only had to look at the first line to understand, like, how am I decreasing? Like, what is the decrease rate? And then what am I doing this round? Like, is this a cable round or not? Is this a twisted stitch? Like, which direction are the stitches going to be twisted? Like, basically figure out what is the action plan for this row, and then I can knit the row without looking at the chart. And by the time I got to like the end of the third, I don't know, maybe that's here or something, I don't really know, but the third clue, and by the time I started the fourth clue, I literally just stopped looking at the chart, because I'm like, I understand what's going on. I know the cadences with which we do the cables. I realized that the reason I was struggling with the twisted stitches is because I had messed them up at some point, so I no longer was looking at it, and I was just following the pattern. So at that point, the pattern, it wasn't like that thick. So I think it was like over around here where clue 4 started. And I have not looked at the pattern at all. I've just been knitting away, and I think I'm doing a really good job on it. If I were to show you how far I am, I have like 40, just based on my estimate of how many stitches I have. I think I have around 40 rows left, and you can see that I have like maybe that much more to knit, which I didn't even think I could finish this summer, but lo and behold, you put your mind to something, you give it your time, you can do it. So if you're ever worried about a pattern being really complicated, don't be, because you will figure it out. If you don't figure it out now, you will figure it out later, as long as it's a well-written pattern. And sorry, Nordland's patterns are very well done. So I'm really excited to knit more cables, and this really like boosted my confidence. I just never really thought I would have it in me to knit a cabled sweater, because of kind of just how badly the twist loop had been going. And I realized that it truly is just having a good pattern and having the dedication. And I'm excited to cast on something textured after I'm done all the texture that I'm working on. Okay, so those are all my textured pieces. I also want to talk to you about another piece that's quite old. It's over here. Ugh, let me find it. Okay. Can anyone guess what this could possibly be? What is this? What could this possibly be? It was the start of a baby cardigan. I had taken the Carl's cardigan, which is a smock stitch, like baby cardigan, and I didn't do the smocks, and I just followed the stitch counts, but for the largest size on 5mm needles, because I'm like, let's give this baby some space. And I was going to knit it for my family friend's son who turned 1. Unfortunately, my family friend's son turned 1 in November. of 2023. It is now July of 2024. So this is not going to fit him. I just dropped the ball on it, TBH. Like, she wasn't expecting it, so it was like a nice thing to knit, but it wasn't like a mandatory thing to knit. So by the time I didn't finish it for her birthday, I was like, oh, maybe I can like still finish it. But then I had all these test knits that took priority, and then at that point I was like, I just want to knit on things that are fun. I don't want to knit on this like baby sweater, just because I'd have to do the sleeves, and the sleeves are so small circumference and not fun. So I've just been sitting on it, and I decided, or what I had decided was like, I'm not going to frog it because of the fact that let me just finish it and I can donate it. But the reality is I'm not going to do that. Like, I've been sitting on this for nearly a year and it's not done yet. So I just wanted to wait until I filmed this. Took the needles off. Those aren't even the needles that I was making it on. And I'm just frogging it. So we are officially down to 8 whips. The next piece that I want to show you is something. This has been like my priority project the past couple of weeks, and I made such great progress on it. Can I lift this up? What is going on? I am scared. This is my Sadie sweater. This is a test knit I am doing for the lovely Haley Smedley of Ozetta. It is a very basic pattern with really on-trend design features. So it is, oh my god, she's so pretty. You're so beautiful. Okay. So it's a very classic drop shoulder, as you can see here. If I hold it, it drops pretty low, like over here for me. The finishings are all done in a rolled hem kind of style. So if you can see, it just rolls over, the neck rolls over. I still have obviously a lot of ends to weave in and figure that out, and block it, and also just finish the body. Oh my gosh, where are my stitches? Where are my needles? Okay, I am working on the body. I'm holding it upside down. What am I doing? But I am almost done. It is currently this knits to I think 60-ish centimeters. I am about 23 rows left. Okay, I just need to knit 23 more rows until I'm done the project. And realistically, if I sit down on a weekend and I knit all day, with like obviously taking breaks, eating, taking walks, whatever, like if I dedicate a day to knitting, not like, how do I say this? If I have a rot day and I'm knitting, I can finish those 23 rows in a day. I don't think I will do a rot day. I think I will just break it up over 2 days. So it is the 28th. I will knit this on the 29th and 30th and actually be done like a week before the deadline. The test knit was for 6 weeks, which I do consider a little bit tight for me, as I knit like one of the mid sizes. If I was knitting like the small or the extra small, like no biggie, but I'm in the mid range. So it is a little bit tight for me to finish a sweater in 6 weeks, but I was really surprised at how quick this went. I think it's just the combination of just how classic and fun of a pattern it is to knit. Like, you really can't beat knitting a drop shoulder. Just like, it's just my favorite kind of pattern to knit, just for like the experience of it, or the knitting experience of it. Plus just using this beautiful yarn, I'll get to that in a second, and getting to see it like come to life. And then I think also just, I really love Haley's patterns. I love Ozetta patterns. I've knit one in the past, and I have so many that I've been like eyeing and like about to start, just like haven't found the right time to, because I have 9 whips, you know. It's just a really pleasant knitting experience. I think the details are very pretty and trendy, so it allowed me to kind of, it allowed me to pair this like very pink and feminine yarn with this more like casual style, and I think that works out really well because it makes this pink more wearable and like more dressed down, whereas I think otherwise it's a little too like pretty for me on the day-to-day. Like, it's too like fancy for me out for the day-to-day. I've teased it enough. Let me talk about the yarn. So I am using Noro Silk Garden Sock Solo in the colorway 82 Ome. This is essentially Omitama, the classic Omitama, except with a pink base instead of like the beigey whitish beige, beigey whitish base. I'm holding it with Folklana Alva, which I actually picked up in my recent trip to Scandinavia. This is actually all I have left of my yarn. I will definitely have enough of the Noro to finish, but I think Folklana Alva is not really accessible to me, so I think I'm just going to start using some alpaca Folkatrad from Seniscarn once I'm done. It will be like slightly off, but I think it'll just be like for the last like 5-10 rows. It's not a big deal. But I think something interesting about the Alva is that it looks like, you can see these colors are very different, like maybe not very different, but it brightens up the yarn a lot. And mohair does do that typically, but this is not mohair, this is a lace alpaca. So actually what it's doing is it's not brightening the yarn and creating a halo, it's actually marling, and that marl is what brings the brightness in to this project. And I just want to show off just how pretty this fabric is. It is a sport with a lace weight. I forget the gauge off the top of my head, but it's a comfortable gauge to knit at. I'm knitting on a 4mm needles. The knitting experience is so fun. I'm treating myself and using my what are these called? My C knits, which I also bought quite recently, and it's just been making it the most fun, wonderful experience ever. And I think the reason I really like it too is the finishings, because there's just something about having to do tubular bind off or like I-cord or whatever that like it makes a beautiful finish, refined touch, but it's also something I kind of dread doing. Like, I don't like knitting ribbing. I don't love doing the bind offs. I actually don't mind I-cord. I take that back. I don't really mind I-cord. I like I-cord. I just hate picking up stitches. So kind of the finishings here is what made it so fun. It's like, okay, I'm done a sleeve. I'm actually just done a sleeve. I'm not doing all this like non-knitting tasks to finish it. But yeah, this one's very exciting. I am at, what's my percentage completion for this? I think I'm at 85% done on this project. Yes, that's what I am. I'm 85% done. I have a spreadsheet. I'll like send I'll do a screenshot after, and very, very close to being done, and I will be done in the next couple of days. I'm gonna make the goal of finishing this in July, and if I can't, well, sucks to suck. The next thing I want to show is something that's honestly a little bit rowdy. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a little bit of a mess, so I guess I'll just hold it up. I'm in like a really interesting spot. What I've been knitting, what this is it's a sock tube. This is literally just something, I don't want to call it self-drafted because it's just something so simple. It's not really drafting something. But I just essentially, what I did was I cast on Drops Fable in the colorway Silver Fox. Yes, in the colorway Silver Fox, Drops Fable. It's a fingering weight, almost sport weight yarn, sock yarn. It's like a fingering weight. Yeah, it's not sport weight. It's a fingering weight sock yarn from Drops. Mostly wool with, I think, polyamide or nylon. I don't know, but oh no, it is very pretty. It is like color changing. It's kind of giving Noro, but not. I really like it because it's superwash, but there's like a toothiness to it, so it doesn't feel like superwash. And I think it's because it's a superwash wool versus a superwash merino. Because superwash merino can feel like almost acrylic-y because it's just so soft. So this still has some grit to it, which is really, really nice, and it feels like it's there. It feels substantial. So essentially what I did was I knitted a giant sock tube. I just finished the ball of yarn. I literally didn't even do ribbing. I just cast it on. I think what I'm going to do is actually do a folded hem, folded cuff, I think actually is more appropriate. And I'll sew it down and do like a folded cuff. We'll see if that has enough like elasticity. I might put some elastic in, or I might just not. We'll figure it out. So after I knit this gigantic tube, I essentially steeked it down the middle and that's why we have these two parts. And after sticking in the middle, I kind of align them side by side, and they are not even. Unfortunately, I did kind of mess up, but I essentially staked half of one side, and this is essentially to make space for the heel. So what I'm going to do is, what I have left to do is knit the heels, the afterthought heels, and knit the toes, and then sew down the cuffs, and I'm done. I think what I'm worried about is what contrast color to use, because I don't want to use white on this. I don't have any more of the gray. So I have 3 options, and I'm gonna put a poll in my Insta story as well, just to see. But option 1, I don't think I'm gonna go with this because I don't think it'll work, but I thought it'd be nice to have a fun puff of color, but I just feel like the undertones are not working. This is a mini skein by Typical Bliss. It was in one of her Patreon months. I honestly don't remember the name, don't remember the month, just know that it was in my stash, so I thought it would be perfect to use for a sock. I just don't think it's working for this one, so I might leave this for something else. Option 2 is to use this blue that's also drop stable, so that's good. But I'm concerned that since this is also patterny, it will not, it won't make sense. It might be a little too much going on. And then option 3 is to use Drops Nord, which is another sock yarn by Drops with polyamide, and it's an alpaca, and just do the heels. And I think this is the one that's going to win, because I think this is the cutest contrast. It's going to go to my aunt, who okay, this is a really sweet story, but my aunt in Bangladesh, she's really big into knitting. She actually, even when I was very, very young, she would knit garments for sale. She literally had a business where she would be selling garments that she had made, and obviously that's very strenuous to do, but she would just make the most beautiful pieces, and it's kind of part of our family history because of that. I don't really catch up with her very, very often, because we are in different countries, but and she doesn't use social media, but my cousins use social media, and one of my cousins told me that whenever he shows her my knitting Instagram, it just makes her so, so happy, and that just I don't know, that just means the world to me. It just makes me so happy that something that I'm doing and I'm loving, and it feeds back to her, if that makes sense. I don't know if this is making any sense of how I'm expressing it, but it's just very meaningful, and I just want to gift her these socks. I have a deadline of August 10th for these, because that's when someone we know is going back to Bangladesh, so we can send it with them. I do think I'm gonna go with this. Actually, now that I look at them in camera, there's really no question of what the right decision is. I'm 82% on that piece, so we are almost done. Okay, let me think. Is there anything else that I want to talk about? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 7th piece I'm working on. Okay, this is gonna be a little wonky to hold up. There are so many cables on this, because I was it was mid try on, and I'm also doing a sleeve. So this is my, I guess I'm gonna call it my 1031 sweater by Ozetta, but I also can't really call it that. This is why I say it's kind of the 1031 sweater. This actually started off as a heavily modified Wednesday sweater. So I instantly fell in love with the Wednesday sweater the second I saw. I'm gonna put this down because this is tiring. But I instantly fell in love with the Wednesday sweater the second I saw it. It's literally so beautiful, and it's essentially holding a Peruvian Highland wool by Folcolana with a really, really beautiful hand-dyed mohair, or suri. So last year at Knit City, Montreal, I picked up this gorgeous mohair. Actually, this is suri, I lie. This hand-dyed suri. It's phenomenal, beautiful, gorgeous. I don't even know what it's called. I don't know the company. I just remember picking it up. I remember wiping it down. I remember throwing away the tag, and I have no idea what this is. I just know it is absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. So sorry, can't help there. But I'm holding it with, I don't have a lot of this left right now, Cascade 220 Heather in River Rock Heather. And I have a very classic worsted weight gauge. Peruvian Highland wool is 100 meters for 100 grams. Cascade 220 is 100 meters for they are both 100 meters for 50 grams. So I thought, lovely, perfect, it'll be fine. I'm nowhere near gauge. This created a worsted weight gauge, whereas the Peruvian Highland wool with the mohair is supposed to be a bulky weight gauge. I think it's like more like 15 stitches width. And I realized it's just probably how Peruvian Highland wool, this is also Peruvian Highland wool, that's why I thought it'd be good, but I guess it's just how Folklana does their plying and everything. It probably is more of an Aran weight yarn than a DK, even though it has a DK meterage. I know that Tiffany of Typical Bliss also had this issue when she made her Wednesday sweater. She used Drops Lima with mohair and it just was too small. So I'm guessing that it's just like the Peruvian Highland wool specifically is thicker. That's what I guess. So I actually had like, I think an 18 or 19 stitch gauge, which not even 19, 18 or 17 stitch gauge. So that is very much a worsted weight gauge. So I decided to run some numbers. I'm pretty comfortable with grading and regrading patterns at this point. The twist loop aside, because that was like very early on in my modification career. But I'm very comfortable with these numbers. So I'm just like, let me figure it out. I want to make this look. And I unfortunately like also wanted to add some short rows, additional short rows. So I added short rows in the front as well as in the back, which the pattern only had them in the back, which is pretty standard. I don't know why I put them in the front. I just thought it would be a better fit because I really love how my Stockholm sweater does it, but it just created like the weirdest wedged look. And I just like kept knitting, and I actually knit the entire yoke, and then I tried it on. I'm like, this looks ridiculous. So I had to frog it back. I frogged back the entire front. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm doing too much. Let's keep it simple. Funny enough, the 1031 sweater has the exact gauge of this combination. Without even trying, I hit the gauge. And then my like Wednesday sweater modification, like regrading, the circumference around the body as well as the back panel, literally the exact same numbers as the 1031. I think it was off by like 1 stitch. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I literally have the gauge and the stitch counts of the 1031 sweater. Why am I not just knitting the 1031 sweater? So that's what I decided to do. The difference is, I believe the 1031 sweater uses a different like technique for shaping the back panel, whereas the Wednesday sweater uses short rows. So I didn't want to undo the back panel. So I just kind of followed the instructions for the sleeve, like the short shoulder pickups from the 1031. Hit the body count. Oh my god, body count. Hit the stitch count for the body for the 1031, and I just like have been knitting straight down. The sleeves, I never really follow sleeve directions. I just do whatever I want, unless I'm test knitting. So the sleeves, I'm just doing whatever. It wouldn't have mattered what pattern I was doing. I would just do whatever I wanted to do, which is like typically picking up at a rate of 2 to 3, 2 stitches every 3 stitches, which I think is like just kind of an industry standard, typical for a tapered sleeve. But I am playing yarn chicken on this yarn because I thought I would be doing a bulky weight sweater. So I bought enough for a bulky weight sweater. But I'm actually making a worsted weight sweater, so I need a little bit more yarn. Also factoring in the fact that like the first time I tried to skein this or cake it, I didn't have a Swift. So I had a lot of wasted yarn, let's just say that, which is like really heartbreaking. So I am very much playing yarn chicken. I think I can use the rest of this to finish my second sleeve. So I am done one sleeve, as I showed you. And then I have one more skein that I think I can use for the rest of the body. The contrast color that I use on the cuff, this is a Woolberry Fiber Co. yarn. I forget the colorway, but it's from her January Woolberry collective. I think Berry Smoothie. No, that's the other colorway. It's very, very pretty. The color is like, it's like a dark plummy purple, brown. So I think maybe from afar it looks brown, but it really is like purple. Like it's a very different color to what I'm wearing here. And it's one of my favorite colors. I love this color. I just don't have a lot of yarn or like items in it, but I love this color. I'm always drawn to it. The issue with this yarn, and this is the thing that kind of sucks, is like it's a beautiful yarn in the color, but it doesn't feel that nice. Like it's very surprising to me that this is It's a super wash. It's a super wash merino with cashmere and nylon, but it does not feel that soft. And that's like really disappointing for me because Woolberry Fiber Co. is like from the US, right? So me being in the collective is quite expensive. But let's just say I can get a sweater's worth of yarn, more than a sweater's worth of yarn for how much this one skein cost. And if I'm not completely obsessed with it, I'm not happy, you know? Like, I'm not like, I love Woolberry's colorways. I think they are one of my favorite dyers, just like their aesthetic. So I will definitely buy from them in the future, but I guess I was just a bit disappointed with this color, or this yarn. But alas, I have it, and I will of course use it. So I'm gonna do the cuffs. If I have enough, I might even do the hem in this. I'm gonna do the split hem as the 1031 sweater has, and I may have enough, I may not. If I don't, then we'll figure it out. I'm running very, very late. The last two items I want to talk about are items that I don't really have with me here because they're my out and about knits. So if you know me IRL, you know I am like very much a germaphobe. If I'm working on something outdoors, it is an outdoor knit, and as a result of that, I like, obviously I do go out a lot, like a normal human being. Like, I go to parks, whatever. I do socialize. I am a person, but obviously the amount of time that I have to knit outdoors is a lot less than the amount of time I would have to knit indoors. So those projects are very slow for me to finish. So 2 I'm working on. One is actually another classic. I actually cast that on, it's probably my oldest project ever. I cast that on September of 2022. It is now July of 2024. So we are hitting its 2-year anniversary, and it's still not done. I am almost done though, because I have been powering through. But a little bit more context is, instead of doing a like collar, like a funnel collar, whatever, I just did a folded over collar. And it's cute. I think this is cuter, so I just wanted to do something different. And I'm using this colorway. The camera is picking it up very gray, like a sage, like a gray green, but it really varies. Like, in some lights, like I think whenever I'm indoors, this looks like more of like a yellow green. Like, it looks more yellow, but then here, that's not how it looks. That's not how it looks IRL at all. Maybe I'll post a photo, or I'll take a photo or something, but I like it. It's acrylic. It's the same acrylic as this, but I honestly don't like the sweater. I made it like less positive ease, but I think I made it just not big enough. Like, it fits fine, but I think it just fits. It like fits. I didn't want it to just fit. I think I needed a little bit of positive ease on it. But I'm working on it. I think what I can do is I'll probably gift this to my mom, or gift it to somebody who will get use out of it. I think I'm also no longer in love with the color, so it just doesn't make sense for me to keep it because of the fact that I'm not going to get use out of it. And I'm now very cognizant of the fact that if I use up all my yarn stash, I'm going to have like so many sweaters. Like, I already have so many garments. And I don't want to just like make things for the sake of making things and then hold them in a box. I want to wear the things that I make. So if I don't think I'm going to make it, wear it, I'm just going to finish it and give it to somebody. Not like, I'm not going to try to sell it to anybody because I honestly don't care to. But I want to give it to either my mom or one of my friends. And if nobody wants it, I will probably just donate it, TBH. But I'm almost done. I'm on the second sleeve. I think I am at, off the top of my head, I'm 91% done. If you're wondering where all these percentages are coming from, I have a spreadsheet that I do stuff on. If you're curious about that spreadsheet, let me know. I can walk y'all through it. But I'm nearly done this, and I am actually going to be going to a park today. So I'm thinking I will try to finish it. And if I can't finish it today, I will try to finish it sometime this week. Okay. Final thing is my Friday Slipover V-neck by Petite Knit. It is, what is it? Oh, I'm knitting it in Drop Slima in the colorway Petrol Mix, and it is an all over broken rib slipover. Some of the modifications I'm doing on it is, instead of doing like a ribbing for the finishings, I'm actually going to be doing folded over hems and like hems, I don't know, folded over finishing. So I'm knitting a stockinette and then going to fold it over and sew it down. I'm going to do the same thing for the v-neck, and I actually don't quite know how I'm going to do that yet, but I know that Typical Bliss's Tuesday top uses this technique and it is so gorgeous. So I'm just going to get that pattern and copy whatever Tiffany did for that on my Friday Slipover v-neck. And I think that will be just like gorgeous. I'm almost done. I actually went on a trip to Ottawa recently, and that was the only whip I took. I was gone for like 5 days. And with those 5 days, it was like mostly chillin'. And 2 days of like very long trains. So I brought all the yarn that I had. I brought the project, and I used up all my yarn, but I did not finish the project. So I underestimated how much yarn the broken rib would take up, and I ended up needing one more skein, which I did order. I actually ordered 2 just to be safe, and if I have too much, then I guess it'll just be a little longer. And yeah, she's gonna get finished, but I think I've lost momentum. I think that was like a really big L that I took, because I finished the yarn literally on my train. I was on the Via, and oh my god, don't even get me started. You know what happened with the Via Rail? It was a solid, it was how many hours late? It was 3.5 hours late. I was supposed to get into Toronto at 10 p.m. I got into Toronto at 2 in the morning, and I had work the next day at 9 in the morning. So I was really upset. I didn't have any knitting to do because I had finished my knitting on the train very early on. So I literally was just like, what am I supposed to do? I wasn't having it. So that kind of sucked. But we have the yarn coming. I will work on it sometime in August, sometime in September. Honestly, I don't know when I'm going to finish it, but I will finish it this year, and I am on track to. I realized that, like, knitting on it monogamously, I finished like 3 skeins of yarn in like 5 days, which maybe is not a lot for a lot of people, but it is for me. So I feel good about getting that done. I think I really just need to dedicate like a weekend to it. Maybe what I'll even do is make it an inside knit by first washing it. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll wash it, and then once it's clean, I'll use the new yarn that I got, and then I can actually dedicate time to it and not like have to have it be an out and about knit. But we'll see. We'll see what is in store. I've recently gotten into hand dyeing yarn. I went to a workshop in Toronto. It was held by Good Grief at Noble Space. Good Grief is a yarn store in Toronto. And it was a lot of fun, and I am now addicted to dyeing yarn. I'd say addicted. I've done 2 yarn dyeing sessions. But I no longer have any bare yarn left to dye. So I'm basically working my way up to buying more bare yarn that I can dye. So really the intention of that is not to like knit, but to create. So it's still gonna be a rule. That being said though, talking about yarn dyeing, I want to go ahead and show off my what I dyed during the workshop. Look at this skein. It's so pretty. And if I just like unravel it, like I feel like this is such a me color. You can see that I didn't do the best job though, because there's some white undyed spots. Like you literally have a chunk here that's like undyed, or like lighter dyed. I put some speckling in it too. And I think it's just really, really pretty. I don't really know what it looks like in like used up, if that makes, knit up. But it looks really pretty in the skein or the hank. So I have very high hopes. I have caked it up. There's so many terms, I always get them mixed up, but I have caked it up using my Swift and my winder, and I do think it's a lot lighter than when I first made it. I do think still they're like very much my colors. What I'm thinking of making with this is the typical Friday top by Typical Bliss. It's just like a pretty high coverage-ish tank top, and it's knit on 3.5mm needles on fingering weight yarn, I think, or DK weight. I don't know. I'm just going to use this and hope for the best. And sorry, I just got a message from the person that I'm meeting asking me when I'm leaving, and I haven't left yet because I am running late because I'm doing this video, and now I am a little bit stressed. I'm so scared. But oh no, this has fallen apart. Oh no, nothing is working. Let me fix this. But what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like that's like a good project, that it's not like fingering weight, like it's not like a fingering weight tank top that it'll take me forever, but it will allow me to see how the yarn appears when it's knit up, because I also just think I need to understand what yarn, like what am I creating. Like it may look pretty in the hang, but what does it actually look like? So I want to create that. And then something else, that was one yarn that I dyed. I also dyed more yarn. So that was superwash merino that I just showed you. I also did a yarn session I also did a yarn dyeing session at my at home with one of my friends, Sin Knits. She's the person I went to the initial yarn dyeing workshop with, and we just had the best time. So we set up time to dye more yarn. These are supposed to be the same color. I did the same formula, but they're all different dye lots, so they don't look the same at all. But essentially I had some Patton's classic wool in their, I think it's called natural colorway. It's like a beige-ish color. I didn't like it. I honestly bought that back when I thought everybody, like, I just had to knit in beige because everyone was knitting in beige, and then I realized I hate beige. So it was just sitting there. I literally had so much of it because something about me is I like love a good sale. So I mass bought them. They were actually one of my very first natural fibers that I bought. They were $5 a skein. No, they were $7 a skein. They were 40% off. I bought them for, like, I swear $3 a skein. So I bought 12 of them. And I hate the color. So I dyed 8 of them. This is like, maybe I'll just pick them all up. I dyed them. These are, yeah. They're all supposed to be the same color, and they're clearly not, but I can't be bothered. I think that's fine. Like, that is kind of just what it's like, what it is. And I think, I mean, it's very, like, heathered, I don't know, multicolored anyways. So I think it'll be fine. But I want to make the Ingrid sweater with this. I don't know when I'm going to make the Ingrid sweater with this, but I will be making the Ingrid sweater with this. Or I could make the Stick Season sweater by Rebecca Clow, and the Ingrid, of course, is petite knit. If you have any ideas on what to use this for, other than that, let me know. I do think like a texture would be lovely because I have 8 skeins of this, 800 grams, and I don't want to do a cable sweater. So, oh my god, they're like my babies. They're so cute. Okay, I'm getting a call because I'm running late, so I have to go. I will be making more videos, so please, if you had a good time, feel free to subscribe, and I will actually be recording and sharing videos more regularly going forward. Okay, bye.